You ever buy a $5 coffee and feel a tiny bit guilty, like somewhere a financial advisor is shaking their head at you? Here's the thing, that guilt is a lie they sold you. Because the math isn't lattes versus down payment. The math is, home prices are up over 31% since 2019 and your latte has nothing to do with it. We're talking about a system that made starter homes so expensive that saving feels pointless. And today, I'm showing you exactly why Gen Z stopped playing the game. And what happens to all of us if they don't come back. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Picture a totally average house. 3 bedrooms, 1.5 baths. A backyard that's basically just a rectangle of anxiety. In 2019, that house was annoying to afford. Today, it might literally cost more than a small business. So what happened? Here's the thing. Home prices shot up over 31% since 2019. That's not a typo. The median home price jumped from around $320,000 to over $410,000. And it didn't happen because houses got better. Your future starter home still has popcorn ceilings and a furnace that sounds like a dying whale. The price went up. The house stayed the same. But here's what nobody tells you about the rate thing. When mortgage rates were sitting under 4%, a $350,000 home had a monthly payment that hurt but didn't break you. Now those rates are above 6.5%. Run the math, and that same house costs you roughly $800 more every single month. That's $800 more. Every month, for 30 years. That's not a mortgage, that's a hostage situation with a welcome mat. And it's not just the mortgage eating you alive. Rent is up, groceries are up, car insurance is up. Property taxes in a lot of states are basically a second rent payment at this point. The Atlanta Fed actually tracks how much of your income goes straight to housing costs. In 2019, it was around 30%. Right now, it's sitting at 48%. Almost half your paycheck, just gone. Let that sink in. So you're trying to build up a down payment while rent is already draining your account every month. The average monthly mortgage payment has climbed to around $2,800, and a huge chunk of households can't even qualify for a $400,000 home at these rates. The math doesn't work, and the bank knows it. And the down payment itself? On a median-priced home right now, you're looking at somewhere between $60,000 and $80,000, depending on where you live. That's not a down payment. That's a number that makes you close the Zillow app and go lie down. Now let's talk inventory, because this part is wild. In a lot of markets, the few homes that exist in any kind of affordable range get absolutely swarmed. Bidding wars, cash offers, and you're not competing with other broke 28-year-olds scraping together savings. You're competing with LLCs buying up starter homes in bulk to flip into rentals. A hedge fund spreadsheet doesn't have emotions. It doesn't care that you've been saving for 4 years. It just wins. But here's the catch. Even when a few more homes hit the market, prices barely budge. Because people who locked in at 3% are not selling. Why would they? They'd be trading a 3% rate for a 6.5% rate on their next place. So they stay put. Inventory stays low, and you're just standing outside in the cold watching the same 12 houses sit on the market at prices that make no sense. So how did rates go from under 4% to over 6.5% in the first place? Pandemic spending pumped money into the economy. Supply chains broke down. Inflation went crazy. The Fed hiked rates hard to cool it off, and mortgage rates followed right along. The same policies that kept people financially alive during COVID turned around and made buying a home after COVID feel like a punishment for surviving it. And that's just the big macro stuff. The giant invisible forces crushing the market from above. Because there's a whole other layer underneath all of this that's honestly even more maddening, and it has nothing to do with interest rates at all. So here's a term that's been floating around, and I need you to actually sit with it for a second. Financial nihilism. It sounds like something a philosophy professor would say while sipping bad wine at a faculty meeting. But it's really just a fancy way of describing what a lot of Gen Z and younger millennials are doing right now. Which is looking at the housing market, looking at their bank account, and going, yeah, no. The median age of a first-time homebuyer is creeping toward 38. 38. That used to be the age where you were already refinancing your second home and having strong opinions about granite countertops. Now it's when you're maybe, possibly if everything goes exactly right, buying your first one. Let that sink in. And the delay isn't just, I'll wait for rates to drop a little. It's way deeper than that. More than half of younger buyers say student debt pushed back when they could even think about buying. You graduate, you owe $40,000 or $80,000 or more, and lenders look at that debt-to-income ratio and basically laugh at your pre-approval application. Not out loud, but you can feel it. But here's the catch that nobody in finance wants to say out loud. When saving feels pointless, when you'd need to grind for a literal decade just to hit a down payment while your rent keeps climbing every single year, your brain starts doing something totally rational. It stops planning for the future and starts planning for right now. Today. This weekend. So yeah, you buy the coffee, you book the trip. You spend money on things that make your life feel actually livable today, because the reward for skipping all that, the house, the equity, the stability, feels like it's behind a locked door that keeps getting moved further down the hall every time you get close. And it shows up in how people invest too. Research shows Gen Z is way more likely to throw money at crypto or meme stocks when normal wealth building feels totally out of reach. That's not stupidity, that's a pretty logical response to a broken system. Why grind towards something that might genuinely never happen? The work piece is real too. There's a growing chunk of younger people pulling back on the extra hours, the side hustles, the overtime shifts, not because they're lazy, but because the math just doesn't work anymore. Work harder, make a little more money, watch rent eat every dollar of it, repeat forever. The idea that extra effort gets you closer to owning a home feels almost funny when prices are lapping wages by that much. This is the quiet quit of the housing market. Not dramatic, not a protest with signs and matching t-shirts, just a slow, exhausted walk away from a game that feels completely rigged. And honestly, you can totally see why. It's not a vibe, it's not laziness. It's a rational response to a system where nearly half your income disappears into housing costs. Student debt wrecks your borrowing profile before you even get started, and the starter home your parents bought for $120,000 is now sitting on Zillow at $380,000. A Pew Research study found over a quarter of Americans are already spending more than 50% of their income on housing. More than half. Gone. When the math stops adding up, people stop doing the math. But this isn't just a personal finance bummer for one generation. Because when an entire generation delays or skips home ownership, the fallout hits all of us, and it's going to hit in ways most people aren't even thinking about yet. Here's the real gut punch. Home ownership isn't just a roof. It's how regular families in America have built wealth for generations. Your parents' home equity paid for college, covered retirement, maybe even helped fund your down payment someday. And the National Association of Home Builders found roughly 70% of American households can't afford a $400,000 home, while the median sale price right now sits at $420,000. When a whole generation delays that by 10 or 15 years, the wealth chain just breaks. The gap between people who own and people who rent gets wider every single year. So the next time someone gives you grief about the latte, remind them, the latte isn't the problem. A system that turned a normal house into an unattainable asset is the problem. Drop a comment telling me where you're at with all this. Are you still trying to buy, or have you fully quiet quit the dream? Next video, I'm getting into the specific markets where things are actually shifting and what younger buyers can realistically do right now.